नित्यानन्देश्वर समारम्भाम् नित्यानन्देश्वरि मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। इस समय हमारे साथ उपस्थित सभी दर्शकों और भक्तों का मैं प्रेम एवं आशीर्वाद सहित स्वागत करता हूं। I welcome all the devotees, disciples, samajis, satsangis sitting with us at this moment through Nityananda TV, Sadhana TV, Lotus News Channel, Janashri TV, Ishwar TV, and through two-way video conferencing, having Naina Diksha all over the world, sitting with us in two-way video conferencing, having Naina Diksha, Adi Nityananda Dhyanapeetam Avattipalayam, Seattle Chidambaram, San Jose Madurai, Oklahoma Somanatham, St. Louis Tirumala, Vancouver Bhubaneswar, Bangalore North, Los Angeles Arunachalam, Singapore Singapuram, Ohio Prayag, Guadalupe Rameshwaram, Bangalore Malleshwaram, Toronto Kailasam, Hyderabad Guptakashi, that's it. Paris Kalighat, Kulim Tiruttani, Bogota Colombia, San Antonio Texas, Johor Tiruchendur, Kulim Tiruttani, Tiruvanmiyur Dhyanapeetam, Oman Sivagangai, Jorpati Nepal, I welcome all of you with my love and blessings on this Thanksgiving weekend. Thanks to the technology, thousands of miles away, still people are able to see with the same clarity, with no infrastructure. That is the beauty. See, our guys came just with few suitcases. And if you are a little more organized, you don't even need that few suitcases. You just need to remember the password, that's all. Come here and log in and open. Thanks to the technology. From here, all the Indian channels are also live telecasting the satsang. It is not just Nityananda TV. As usual, Sadhana, Lotus TV, all channels are doing live telecast. And thanks to the technology on this Thanksgiving weekend, so even this moment of this Kundalini Danda is so clear in all the channels. That's why I'm checking. When I moved this, I am checking how much time it is taking to see that movements in the channel. It is only few seconds. First, I wanted to thank technology and all the people who work for technology. It just, the distance between human being has become a myth. See, the distance between human beings used to be reality, pre-technology era. Now, the distance between human beings is just a myth. It is only your incompletion which can be a distance. Other than incompletions, nothing can be a distance. So even though I am seeing all you guys after a long time, all the IA level 4 participants. But I don't feel, because every day practically we are seeing each other. Maybe for you it will be whatever is said and done, physically seeing. Today we will have a satsang in a unique way. I'll take a live questions. I'll directly take questions from the IA level 4 participants. The program will start tomorrow. But from today we will be having completely different, unique satsangs. Just like IA level 4, the satsangs also will be unique and different. I'll just clarify one doubt which you would have had, which many people had if you have listened to the yesterday's satsang. Yesterday's satsang, just attending is not enough, you need to listen. If you have listened, you would have had a doubt, because I was explaining a very subtle point, the truth, sacred secret of how understanding the instability of your mamakara, the inner identity, brings tremendous love for every being, because everything, whether you see it as a good or bad, comes out of instability of mamakara. So, you will have a tremendous compassion towards every being, because you know you are also a possibility. Please listen. When you see a saint, you know you are a possibility. He is a possibility in you. When you see a sinner, you know you can become that. When you see a saint or sinner, when you know both have happened because of the instability of the mamakara, please listen. Even saint happens, saint is happening with the instability of mamakara, the most moralistic, even the most moralistic guys have an unstable mamakara. Only when you get enlightened, the mamakara is transformed. Till then, anybody you see, whoever you see in your life, within the human frame, good or bad, both extremes are just. Please listen, both extremes are just instability of the mamakara. Any day you can become that sinner, you can become that saint. The possibility is there. Tarun Tejpal would have never imagined he is going to complain about media trial. The self-appointed, self-styled upholder of the morality of India, self-styled media godman, Tarun Tejpal, would have never imagined he will be getting all these words back from me, to whom he gave all these words, to whom he taught all these words. Tarun, you need to know, now I am no more a self-styled godman. I am official pontiff of Mahanirvani Akada, Mahanirvani Pita. But unfortunately, you are a self-styled media godman. I may not want to use the word God for you, and you also may not like the word God. Self-styled media devilman. Let us create a new word. Tarun Tejpal, you would have never imagined you will be getting all these words. But I wanted the whole humanity to understand, for the viewers, for your understanding. If you want to know who is Tarun Tejpal is a tainted, self-styled media devilman of India who blackmails the high-profile politicians, swamis, gurus. His profession is blackmailing, and he blackmails every politician or guru or celebrity or even the businessmen, industrialists. After blackmailing, he makes them invest money in his bogus company. Yesterday, one of the former employee of Tegalka has given a complete detail of their financial transactions in the media called First Post. I was not surprised, but I was shocked. I know this Tarun Tejpal is this kind of a fellow, very secret, underground, don't know what is going on, a shady fellow. But I was shocked the amount of illegalities he has done without even having the idea one day somebody may question him. That was only shocking. He was almost thinking that he is a God, which every India media baron thinks. Like how Nakiran Gopal used to think. Tamil Natin Tarun Tejpal, Nakiran Gopal. Nakiran Gopal is the Tamil version and Tarun Tejpal is the national version. Anyhow, all of you understand this truth. Tarun Tejpal would have never thought he will be caught. I don't think he would have ever thought he will be caught. Whether you see a saint or a sinner, both are from unstable inner identity. When you understand the inner identity you carry is not the truth, not the truth, But at this moment it is truth. When this clarity comes, suddenly you will see a tremendous compassion. Please listen, compassion does not come by acceptance. It comes by neither accepting nor resisting. It's a very beautiful feeling, a liberating experience. How when you see the beach outside, what a liberating experience if you are continuously sitting in the same room and gazing that foolish Facebook and stupid Twitter all the time, on that internet. I don't know who of the inner identity. You will have the tremendous freedom. Freedom from the suffocating structures. I tell you, please understand. The legal structure of the country never suffocates you. It's the internal ignorant structure of you suffocates you. The internal ignorant structure. Awakening to the internal ignorant structure and completing with it is all about enlightenment. That's all is enlightenment. Awakening to the internal ignorant suffocating structure. How many of you are understanding what I am saying? So when you are awakened, you will have the tremendous compassion, gratitude. You will know the truth as a cognizance. Life is for others. And food and sleep won't have any power over you. Just yesterday I was talking about this in the morning satsang in Bangalore. I think the guys who take care of me who were supposed to take care of me in Bali, they wanted to test whether the food has power over me or not. When I came here, no food. No, they tried, but they could not make it somehow. I eat the aval in Tamil, we call it the rice, puffed rice, flattened rice I eat. And poor fellows were not able to get, I eat little flattened rice and curd, that's all, in the night. I don't take any other cooked food or in the night, that's the diet. I tell you guys, even you guys can try that. It is such a powerful, it gives you such good sleep. How much ever your body is heat or whatever may be the stress you are carrying whole day, just little puffed rice with a curd, mix and eat maybe a full 1 cup. You will sleep so beautifully and so deeply. This is one of the powerful recipe for sleep. If you are suffering sleeplessness or the stressful dreams, because of the stress of the whole day you are rolling on the bed, not able to sleep the moment you lie down, all these problems, just have a cup of puffed rice with curd. You will sleep like a log or you will sleep like a child. At night around 2:30 or 3:30 when I landed, they were not able to get it. It's not that they are a mistake, they tried their best. I'm not complaining about them. But all I am trying to tell you is that it did not have any power over me. At night 3 o'clock we landed. I don't know, when I landed I was looking sleepy. There were few devotees. I don't think I was looking sleepy. And today morning again back. I tell you guys, when you have compassion as the cognition, when you are awakened to the inner, ignorant, suffocating structures, you will have such tremendous freedom, the energy space. That is what I call gratitude. So yesterday I was talking about this subject. I felt I needed to use more words and expand and answer these doubts. Some of the doubts would have happened. Now I'll take up live questions from the IA participants. All devotees in our temples, centers, ashrams, watch who is questioning. You may see your family here. Yes. Who wants to start? Pick up the mic, start the questions. Speak only in the mic, one at a time. We'll start from here. Yes, go ahead.
Nityananda Swamiji. I'm going to ask a question after explaining what my doubt, and I talked to my group here. This is about on the western side, you got, what do you call it as one-day marriage, overnight marriage. And
one minute, can you type the question? I think the feedback is not there. 1 minute, just a moment. Yes, go ahead. Now go ahead.
In the West, they get married overnight. They fall in love, get married. And in India, based on Vedic tradition, we do all the going around the Agni and all that rituals we do. And some of the current day, there is children born out of wedlock. So my question is, what is sacred about this marriage?
Oh.
What's the difference?
All right. Shall I give you the very straight answer? The cosmos does not recognize marriage. That's the first thing. Second, whatever you respect, if you keep that as a witness, that respect you have for that ideology becomes the sacredness for the marriage. For example, in my life, I respect only one thing in my life, Arunachala. I don't respect any. Maybe, see, it's not that I disrespect, but in my heart, if you ask me what you respect, Arunachala. If I give any commitment saying that Arunachala is witness, I commit with you, that's it. I'll give my life to fulfill it and fulfill it. I'll do everything and fulfill it. Because now what I respect as the most sacred in my life, I put that in stake. Same way, when you get married, if you respect fire as the most sacred, in our Hindu tradition, Vedic tradition, the fire was the most sacred deity. Even the stone deities are only the next to fire. A god has to be invoked first in the fire, which is visible. See, he is in the space, then he is brought to ether through the visualization, then he is brought to air through verbalization, mantras, then he is brought to fire. In the fire only first he becomes visible to us. From fire he is invoked into water, from water to the deity. That is Kumbhabhishekam process. So, in Vedic tradition the fire is considered very sacred. So if you keep the fire and call fire as a witness and in front of the fire you declare an oath, that sacredness which you have for fire is attributed to marriage. Marriage itself is not recognized in the cosmos. It's not recognized in the cosmos. It's almost like how you give a commitment every day morning you will come for yoga, and if you miss one day you complete it. Same way only. To that level only, marriage itself is recognized. Even in the Akashic readings, Kalabhairava has said, marriage is not recognized in the cosmos. But I am telling you, marriage solves a lot of unnecessary problems. Now you are stuck with one problem. All other problems, neither you have a time to go and create all other problems, and nor the other person allows you to create other problems. So it is like a powerful possessiveness of a problem, not letting you to gather another one problem, because if you gather another one problem, this problem cannot possess you. So I don't think without marriage you will be with less problems. I tell you, marriage is okay. Marriage is okay because many ways it reduces the number of problems you will create for yourself. You will be just stuck with the one problem, which is much better. So I do not think any sacredness is there by its own commitment level. See, let me explain this problem once for all. Man by birth, physiologically polygamous, psychologically monogamous. Psychologically he is capable of only handling one relationship, loving, responding, taking responsibility, all that. Psychologically he doesn't have the capability of polygamous. Physiologically he is polygamous, but psychologically monogamous. So to solve the problem, either you should make your psychology into polygamous or physiology into monogamous. Making psychology into polygamous is too arduous, almost impossible. So the best thing is making your physiology monogamous. So to bring that kind of alignment, to bring the maturity, the marriage is started. I am not supporting you psychologically becoming polygamous or physiologically becoming monogamous. I am not supporting, I am not opposing any of this. I am just stating the scientific facts, the inner science facts, facts of the inner science. Maybe we will be having a one-day full session on this subject. Why so much of struggle in marriages, and why so much of, as I said, the world's largest institution is marriage, and world's most cheated institution is marriage. No, true. Even Mahadeva cheated on Parvati. I have a reference. I can give you evidence. You can't use the word cheating because they are gods. But in human level it is cheating only. So, all right, we should not use the word cheating. It's really, because personality like Mahadeva never cheats or hypocritical. But in a normal sense, anyhow, marriage itself does not have sacredness by its own act, but it gets sanctity by the witnesses you bring, by the evidences you bring. If you bring Shiva as a witness and say I get married in keeping Shiva as a witness, then it becomes sacred now. That's it. So you should always be very careful not to have any witness or evidence when you get married. That's But that is not the moral of the story. So, it is the people who are there as a witness, their sacredness is attributed to the sacredness of the marriage. That's all. Mahadeva is so intelligent. He managed. Vishnu did not come as a witness for his marriage. He himself became Vishnu and got married to Meenakshi. Next question. Go ahead, go ahead.
We have a question about
Please be seated. Please be seated.
about Akashic readings. When Kalabhairava says something that it will happen as it is, if person change or circumstances changes, can this also be changed or?
Only based on the exact question I'll be able to interpret. One thing, ma. For example, you come and ask Kalabhairava, I want to get married to this person. Kalabhairava says, Tataastu. And after 1 year you realize this person is not for you and he is going to destroy your whole life. Then when you ask again, no, I don't want this, then there is every possibility Kalabhairava says, Tataastu. No problem. But many times, before itself Kalabhairava will hint. I think you may not settle with that life, don't listen, then you don't listen. When he hints and if you don't listen, he doesn't change. You understand what I am saying?
A little bit again, explain.
See, you ask something. For example, you want a job. He says, Tataastu. After some time you feel that job is not for you. Then you don't want. Then he says, all right, Tataastu, you give up. That job will leave you. No problem. All these kind of things he changes. But there are things like a very serious commitment which involves other person also. That kind of situation he wants you. He wants you, gives warning. No, don't go for it, wait. And after that also if you want to go, then he doesn't change. He says, suffer. Tataastu.
So it means if I get the answer, I go for it, of course.
That is best. That is best.
And if not, I just not talking about me, I talk about.
If not, I think you may have to sit and do little completion with Kalabhairava.
And when it's about my son?
No. You are asking about your son. You got asked and you got an answer?
My son asked something and he got answer.
Oh.
But in the moment I don't see that he is heading to this.
Oh.
So I just want to know if...
I think if Kalabhairava has given answer, better to go in the same direction. Even if he hates this, I think he should go in that direction. That's best.
Thank you.
Yes. Next question.
Nityananda Swamiji. The group is our unconsciousness, the main reason, our source for all our sufferings, and that is stopping us from being in the enlightened state. The question is, where and when did it start?
See, the where and when has no answer, because the where and when itself happened after unconsciousness happened. Please understand, it's like You can ask, when the cotton started getting into thread, becoming thread, there is no answer for this. It happens in such a, for example, when the mud became a building, it became brick at one point, then brick became building. Mud does not become building. Mud became brick, brick became building. So, your consciousness became time and space, and the time and space created bondage in you. So from the bondage level, you cannot ask how my consciousness made me bound. Understand? It is actually a very, with words, still I am struggling to explain, because in your original state there is no time and space. The time and space itself is an illusion. Inside the illusion only you are bound. Yes. Next question.
Swami, there is a continuous.
Yes, go ahead, go ahead.
So how to solve this, Swami?
This is the right question. Completion. Completion with yourself and time, which we are going to be doing now, in a very powerful way, will solve the whole thing.
Thank you, Swami.
Yes, go ahead.
So what I'm beginning to notice about incompletion is that an inaccurate cognition can actually bring you to the next step in your expansion. So it becomes a beautiful journey. And what I used to do is, when I would see the inappropriate cognition, I would begin to hate myself or put myself down. And then that would tie me up and into more bondage. And now I see them, but they're opportunities now. So that our expansion just becomes greater and greater. We start out as something insignificant.
When you see them, self-expansion starts. When you see them, all the incompletions melt away. Good.
And so the
Actually,
expansion...
nothing other than seeing is required. Even if you see, they will all melt down. Seeing is completion.
And see, I used
Because
to...
you don't see, I force you to see yourself in the mirror.
Yes. Yes. And I used to be afraid to see it, but now I see that it's beautiful, that the process is beautiful.
You feel process is beautiful because it brings a beautiful you out of you.
Yes. Yes.
Great. Now, maybe the beautiful energy field of Bali, the moment I put my foot on the Bali, I stepped into the Bali, I know Adi Shankara, Jnana Sambandar, all of them I visited here. Let you all achieve, experience, live, express, radiate, share and explode in eternal bliss. Nityananda.
Nityananda Dhyanapitham, Nityananda Nagar, off Mysore Road, Bidadi, Bengaluru. Phone 08027279999. www.nityananda.org. www.youtube.com/Life Bliss Foundation.